Hi, everyone. Welcome to our final panel of this amazing Second Chances Symposium. We're going to hear from some of my favorite people in the entire world here today. I'm going to turn it over to one of those people, Leslie Mayfield, to kick it off for us.
Well, welcome, everyone. My name is Leslie Mayfield. I'd like to thank the Federal Criminal Justice Clinic, as well as the Illinois Prison Project for doing this Second Chance Symposium. First, a little bit about myself. My connection to the Federal Criminal Justice Clinic, I was back on an appeal from the Seventh Circuit. And while I was back fighting my case, I was allowed to be a part of a litigation that was being done by the Justice Clinic that was looking into racial profiling by ATF. So since I was allowed to be a part of that, eventually I was represented by the Criminal Justice Clinic. Since then, I eventually was freed. And that's my connection to the Justice Clinic. And ever since then, I've been grateful for a second chance, and in being grateful for my second chance, I've been making the best of my life with friends, family. So that's a little bit about me. But I would now like to allow the other panelists, please excuse me if I'm nervous, but I would like to allow the other panelists to say a little bit about themselves. And I would like to start with Tewkunzi Green.
Yes, thank you so much. Sorry about that. Hi, everyone. My name is Tewkunzi Green, and I'm a community educator for the Illinois Prison Project and an activist for other organizations like Love and Protect, Surviving Punishment, and the Children's Best Interest Project. However, I've been impacted by the criminal system as well and served 13 years before I was granted clemency by Governor Pritzker with the 34th sentencing of first-degree murder. Throughout the hardship of being away, I had left behind my 6-month-old baby boy, who is now 15 years old. I felt horrible for leaving him behind to be taken care of by my family. Indeed, I'm so thankful for the love and support that they had given me during that time. Within my time incarcerated, I educated myself and started advocating for other domestic violence survivors like myself. Since my release, I started helping families incarcerated individuals navigate the prison system and to go through the process of getting additional information to help get a clemency going, and as well providing support and knowledge to families. It was so important to me to help families help their loved ones when I came home. Being a mother, a parent is not easy. So I decided to do something to help and improve the broken barriers of family when they have someone incarcerated. We don't have many places out here in this world to help educate families on the process, how the level of the courts work. So there where I became at to deny the system, like the state and district attorneys, their assumption of a person, how it feels to be like in our positions. Um, when my lawyer and I went through the process of a post conviction and then clemency, I knew at that moment I wanted to do more to help the community at that point. And what second chance mean to me is just advancing in second chance opportunity. I can't say that I had confirmed the value of current solutions by helping and shaping what is needed and not wanted. Acquiring a second chance provide people with dignity and allow them to achieve their potential as contributing members of the community. And this allow closure to on the first round of life, which was my first chance to attaining a second chance. Giving a second chance is not a debate on people's past mistake. It's an affirmation what we can value to give back now and deserve. This is a chance to prove that I am better today than I was yesterday. The fact that I'm a citizen and I will forever embrace the productiveness and changing I accept within myself to rise beyond the internal issues of society of my past. And that's left me with saying nobody perfect. Second chance.
So the next person coming up will be Joshua Bauer.
Well, look, thanks. Definitely thankful to be here today, talking about second chances. Just kind of like Ms. Green rolled into, second chances to me mean a lot. I spent nearly 17 years in federal prison before President Obama saw fit to give me a second chance. I've been out for 5 years working as a litigation paralegal with Hopwood and Singhal in DC. And pretty much every day through compassionate release, clemency, and just the other litigation I'm involved in, it's all about, people that are affected by the criminal justice system and that really need second chances and deserve second chances. So this is a really meaningful opportunity for me to share with you guys. And definitely, the advocacy work that the Federal Criminal Justice Clinic for the University of Chicago has been doing with stash house sting cases kind of brought myself, Leslie, Dwayne, who you'll hear from coming up here next. All of us are connected in that way. So I think it's great that, we get a chance to come together today and kind of speak on, second chances that are really desperately needed more in our criminal justice system.
Well, hello, everyone. My name is Dwayne, and I am Leslie's younger brother. And in August of 2009, I was apprehended by the ATF for a stash house sting, which you may be familiar with. And ultimately, I was offered 15 years, which I turned down because I felt the punishment didn't fit the crime. So I went to trial alongside my brother and two others who are still incarcerated. And I was given a 300-month sentence, which is 25 years in federal prison. And off of that 25-year sentence, I did 12 years. And thanks to Miss Erica's uncle and the Criminal Justice Clinic, along with Chaz and Alex, I was given a second chance at life. And what a second chance means to me is my first chance at being an adult outside of prison, my first chance at being a father since my only child was born while I was incarcerated, my first chance to give myself a real chance at life because I was never given one due to the circumstances of my upbringing. What a second chance means to me is that I get to show people exactly how much a person can change, because I've heard people oftentimes say that a zebra can't change its stripes, but I'm not a zebra and I don't have stripes. So I just would like to say that I'm thankful for the opportunity to be here, and I'm thankful for the people who fought for me, and I'm thankful for the people who fight for everyone who is in a situation similar to mine and who has no idea that there are people like the Federal Criminal Justice Clinic who's fighting for everyone. And I'm just happy to be a part of this panel, and I'm happy that I have the opportunity to tell my account of everything that has happened to me in my life.
I'd like to ask a question. I was reading in Anthony's bio. He spoke about having like a spiritual resurrection. I don't know if I would particularly word that for myself, but at some point in my life during my incarceration, I hit a point where I felt like I needed to change who I was and what I was doing. So I would like to put that question to the panel. Did each of you have that moment during your incarceration where you changed as a person, and how did you change? Tewkunzi, would you go first?
Yes, thank you for that question. Mine came based on the experience that I dealt with within the system. Most of the time, the officers see me as invisible, and knowing that I was a person, a productive citizen before I even got locked up, that I did a lot of righteous things, but I made one bad mistake and then countered it for me to serve some time. So within that, I started seeing other people that had similar situations like I had. And it's not easy being a woman in a facility with other women who all experienced some bad situation growing up. And what made me change through all that situation is knowing that I left my son behind and not thinking if I would ever get to see him growing up. Like, to some people, 34 years is a lot. And it was really a lot for me. And all I wanted to do is see my son grow up to be someone and to be able to help others that felt in a situation and the pressure like me, because we don't have those type of opportunities. People ignore. Sometimes the system ignore you. So what made me change was just the strength and on the fact that some changes need to be made on the outside. And if one person can't help, maybe I felt like that was my chance to help because I seen something in that court day, especially with the lawyer that I have, which I work with, as a colleague beside now, that, some made me felt when sh- I, I almost thought she was going to give up, but I had to tell her to continue the faith in her work because I want to do something similar to help others get out that jam. And that's what made me change the most, just knowing that it's a lot of families out here stuck with misled information and not getting the help that they need.
Thank you.
You want me to go next, Leslie?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Well, I'd have to say, first and foremost, for me, it was really, kind of falling in love with the law and sort of learning about, the federal criminal legal system, connecting with guys, a lot of them that were in the same situation that I was in. Get there and you're just kind of bewildered. You really don't have a really good sense for, what the rules are other than, what your attorney may have told you or maybe what you heard. Yeah, I'd say it was like connecting with other people and really being in a position to help people and to sort of like guide people that were in the same predicament and just, kind of finding a way sometimes to shine a light on what seemed to be a hopeless situation for people and not really having a sense of if they were ever going to get out of prison again, if they were going to have to spend 10 years, 15 years in prison, being able to being put in a position to help somebody and to sort of, just guide them through what would otherwise be one of the most difficult situations in their lives. That kind of was a turning point for me because I found meaning in being able to help people and being in a position to, just, if nothing else, inform and give people advice about, trying to fight their convictions and stuff and kind of help them through the process of their appeals. And so that's kind of what made me think that, look, I need to be able to, to turn a corner here. I think I enjoy helping people. So I need to find a way that, I can try to help more people. And, that kind of sort of gave me meaning and finding life and spending 16 years in prison.
Thank you. Dwayne?
Well, as I stated before, I became a father in prison. 2 weeks after my arrest, I learned that my girlfriend at the time was pregnant with my first child as well as her first child. And the way that I grew up, I grew up in a single parent household. There was only my mom. So I knew the importance of a father and I knew the impact that a father being missing would have on a child. And I just never wanted that. So at that moment, I knew that I would do whatever it takes to change so that when I had the opportunity to be in my daughter's life, I would never leave her again. And I also knew that I would do whatever it took in order to maintain and build a bond in a relationship with my daughter, even from prison. So I did whatever it is that I had to do. I learned what I had to learn. I avoided what I had to avoid. I swallowed what I had to swallow as far as being talked to disrespectfully by certain people or by the guards, and a lot of turning the other cheek so that I wouldn't have my phone or my visits taken, so that I would be able to raise my daughter and so that I wouldn't miss out on time with her. Because when you live in the Chicagoland area and you're in prison in places like Mississippi or North Carolina or Louisiana, visits don't come frequently. So when they come around, you want them, especially when someone means as much to you as my daughter does to me. So I would have to say my daughter really forced me to change. She really inspired change inside of me. And to this day, we don't go 2 days without speaking. We don't miss a weekend apart, even though we don't live in the same house. She still inspires change in me right now today. So I would have to say what inspired me to change throughout my prison process was really my daughter.
Thank you. So is Anthony with us now?
Yes, I'm here. Sorry for the mix-up.
All right, well, I'm gonna ask another question for the other panelists until we can get it figured out. So I always see on the news, like, every time there's a new mayor running or there's a new politician running for something, they're always talking about we need tougher laws. We need to be harder on criminals. But we know that tougher laws aren't the answer. So if all of you could tell me a little bit of obstacles you faced when you came home, and what do you think from a legal, not a legal standpoint, but some type of legislation that would help, first of all, people returning from prison in getting back into society. You can go first, Josh.
All right. Well, definitely collateral consequences when it comes to talking about people that have been convicted of even a minor crime, even misdemeanors, but especially serious felonies. It's always an issue. I mean, I work with clients every day that still, 6, 10, 15 years after their conviction and being off of supervision, they're still facing obstacles with housing, access to credit, insurance. I face the same thing, and I'm sure that all of you have too. It's still, when you move from one house to the next, you're getting screened as a tenant. A lot of times, you just don't get that call back. That the reason probably why it isn't that your credit's messed up or you don't have, the right type of income to support it. Same thing with, trying to get access to certain, lines of credit, banking. It's been an issue, but employment. I mean, obviously that's the one thing that keeps us all floating. That's what keeps the lights on, doesn't make some of us resort back to some of the same things that got us, locked up to begin with. And, just, it isn't an equal playing field, no matter how far removed you are from that life, even today, trying to find different work. It's difficult, why you're not getting the call back. You could be equally qualified as some or more qualified than somebody that might be a competitor. And, I think that until Congress or, whether it's the US Congress or Congress in different states really try to enact legislation, kind of like clean slate and everything else that's kind of going on similar to, take these collateral consequences off the board and kind of eliminate housing discrimination, employment discrimination based on the fact of a prior conviction, I think that, we're not going to really see any sort of meaningful change. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure I've went through it just like all of you have too. And it's unfortunate. It's hard to get that, even when you do have the second chance, like what we're here talking about, it's hard to actually realize that because, even though when you're out there trying to do the right thing, sometimes, a lot of times the opportunities just aren't there.
Okay. Thank you. So I think Anthony should be okay now. Are you with us, Anthony?
Yes, I'm here.
All right.
Awesome.
So please let everybody know who you are and a little bit about yourself.
Okay, well, great. I am actually a community navigator with Illinois Prison Project. I have approximately over 15 years of experience as a prison paralegal. I'm also a servant to the disenfranchised prison population throughout Illinois. I'm college educated. I earned 2 college degrees. Co-editor of Stateville Speak newsletter. I'm a poet, father, grandfather, brother, uncle, cousin, taxpayer, and now I'm happy to say a registered voter. I'm also a system impacted person. In 1992, at the age of 20, I committed a violent offense and was sentenced to life without the possibility of parole, and spent approximately 2.5 years in the Cook County Jail, Division One, and I was, as I said, I was sentenced to life without the possibility of parole, and served 29 years of that sentence. And in 2020, I filed a pro se clemency petition based upon a toolkit that I was able to receive from the Illinois Prison Project. And in July 28th of 2021, I was granted parole by the Illinois Prison Review Board, and which I look at as a great act of mercy that was bestowed upon me. What it was like when I came home, I left at the age of 20, and I had my mother, my father. I had a host of relatives that 10 aunts and uncles. And when I returned home 29 years later, my mother, father deceased, and 10 of my aunts and uncles are deceased. I only have one uncle left. So that's about me.
It's a great story.
Yeah.
Yes, you definitely overcame a lot and suffered a lot, lost a lot. I had brought up earlier in reading your bio, you mentioned about a spiritual resurrection.
Yes.
I put the question different to the panel, but I would like to hear at that moment, what were you feeling and what changes you made to yourself after that moment?
I would say I was listening to the panel, and I think one of the things that actually changed within me was when I went through my trial. The state's attorney had used a word that I wasn't familiar with at the time, and at the time it was one of the biggest words I ever heard. Said that I was unsalvageable, and I heard it. I didn't understand what it meant. And being young and lacking education that way. But I think sometime after that, I found out what the word meant, and I thought of even everything that I know of my mother growing up. She was an antique dealer, so we would actually have to we would go through dumpsters and grab garbage or tables and chairs and wrought iron furniture, and she would take it and restore it. And we always found some type of use for these things. They were salvageable. And, for someone to say that a human was unsalvageable, and, for me, for someone to think that I was unworthy of anything at that young of an age, that had a tremendous effect on me. And with me lacking education and, always having somewhat of a respect and reverence toward some type of higher entity. It made me pursue studies. So I began to, study everything I could, whether it was history, books, religion, world religions. And, I identified with a lot of that. And it opened up something within me. And that's what inspired me to pursue spiritual enlightenment into education, and unfortunately at the time, with me having the time that I had, the natural life, that a lot of the, as he said, they spoke about it yesterday about the Pell Grants, they were being taken out of the prisons when I was going into the prison. So, and when you have a natural life sentence, you're basically on the background, you're in the back of the education process, where you always go to the back, and so you get denied a lot. So I had to pursue education myself, and that's what inspired me. Education, spirituality, and it meant a lot to me. It was a saving grace for me while I was incarcerated.
All right. So another question that I asked, I don't know if you heard or not, was when you did get out, what were some obstacles for you, and what do you think from a legislative point of view, which the rest of you can still answer? I know only Josh got to answer this question. Is from a legislative point of view, what can be done to help those coming from incarceration and getting their life back on track?
To answer the first part of your question, one of some of the obstacles that I faced was, one of the biggest ones that I seen was really I think Mr. Hudson talked about it yesterday, Ronaldo, the scarlet letter, being, having that stigma upon us that we're convicted felons. And even though we've served time, and when I was received that tremendous mercy from the Governor Pritzker and the Prison Review Board, when I looked over my clemency, granting of my clemency, it said all rights are being restored as a citizen of Illinois. And I was excited, that all my rights are being restored. But when I got out, all my rights were not restored. The same family members that I have left alive, my eldest sister, she actually came to pick me up, her and her husband, from prison. And she lives in Kenosha, Wisconsin. And I couldn't even go visit them. I can't go across the state line. Another obstacle was the registry that they have, the murder registry, to register your car, all of these new things that didn't exist years ago, where now that I have to do these things. So those are obstacles that let me see, although I'm happy to be out, but free, but not free, not truly free. And that's an obstacle that I see. And it disturbs me really, where there's, where the politics would become in it, where you have people like us that have served our time and we're being productive citizens, and we're still not allowed to go and come as we please, So, at this moment, I can get a parole officer to come here, and I can, I would have to do certain things. It's reminds me of the 13th Amendment. Slavery has been abolished except for those that have been duly convicted of a crime. So I truly feel that, we are still in some type of bondage being out here. And it's frustrating to see that it becomes a political game for people.
All right. Tewkunzi, would you like to elaborate as well?
Yeah, it's pretty much like Anthony said. They tell you, one of my biggest obstacles was the rights, and, people still trying to see you as this person that you were before. And they tell you have access to a lot of things, but people deny you, especially like some employments. They deny you because of your background, and don't even know what you're worth now versus that background. All they see is that background, stamped on your name. And I feel like, with the legislator, they just gaining momentum off the whole thing when it comes to individual that been incarcerated before. They don't look at the person that we are, the things that we value now versus that we did before. So basically, I'm just, acquiring new things in my life to beat the system at the bull crap that they got going on, to think that a person can't have a second chance when everybody deserves a second chance in life. What you campaign about don't mean nothing to me. because all you're doing is trying to make it worse for the people that are trying to do something out here, and you're not holding nothing back. You just going off what you assume and not have knowledge of do you know me? Do he know you? Do he know any one of us on this panel? So everybody that campaigning and talk about, you know, making rights within the community, make rights for those who trying to come out, you know, make rights for reentry, make rights for people to get that second chance to, you know, get their kids back, or, you know, be a parent or be a productive citizen like the rest of it. We all got the same thing going on for us. Just some people have bad choices in their life.
Thank you. And Dwayne?
I'm gonna kind of piggyback off of what Ms. Tewkunzi said, because I believe that a lot of the struggles I faced coming home, I've been home for 6 months now, and I believe a lot of the struggles that I faced coming home could have been prevented with proper education in the prison systems. So I believe that there should be more programs that set us up instead of them just kicking us out and basically telling us good luck. You know what I mean? There should be things that, you know, like there should be programs to help us learn how to drive forklifts. There should be programs that set up specifically to give us warehouse experience, or there should be programs set up specifically to give us truck driving experience, because I took a CDL class when I was in Springfield, Missouri, and we watched videos based on forklift driving, and it had absolutely nothing to do with driving trucks. So I believe a lot of the obstacles, I believe a lot of the obstacles that we face could be prevented if they will properly educate us on what we are about to encounter, or if they will properly prepare us for what we are going to encounter in real life versus abs class that they offer on a prison yard, or versus a push-up class that they may offer on a prison yard. I believe that there should be real classes that prepare us for real life experiences that we are going to encounter. So I believe that there should be a law passed that forces prisons to really prepare us. And there are people who spend dozens of years in prison. I believe that there should be a law that passes that helps people mentally, because they're in jail. When you become overwhelmed, you can go to someone and tell them, hey, I'm not feeling this right now. I would like to go to the hole for a couple of days. And it will send you to segregation. But at home, there is no isolation from real life. So there was really nothing to prepare me for being bombarded. I went 12 years and I probably got a hug maybe 3 times a year. I wasn't used to people touching me. So I believe that there should be a law that passes that helps people get jobs. And I believe that there should be laws passed that helps people mentally prepare themselves for coming home.
Thank you.
I believe that a lot of that can be prevented in prison.
Thank you. And one of the things that I always thought that we should have, I believe that any person who served a number of years should be talking to a counselor, should be talking to someone like myself. I spent so much time fighting for my freedom. I never really spent time worried about myself, fixing myself. And I believe coming home from prison, trying to adjust, we need to talk to psychologists or social workers. I believe there needs to be more of a structure, not of an institutional kind of structure, though. As far as our readjustment back into society. Well, first of all, I would like to know a little more in depth, especially from Josh, Tewkunzi, and Anthony, because you all are part of organizations and are paralegals. Could you let us know a little bit of what you do in your communities, as far as the organizations and the law offices that you are connected with?
You want me to start?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Well, actually, my boss was a panelist, a couple of panels before this one, Sean Hopwood, also formerly incarcerated. We actually got to know each other at the same place that I got to know Leslie at, and that was FCI Pekin many years ago there in Illinois. But like a lot of people, I guess I just, I took an interest in the law. I had a whole bunch of time on my hands and was fortunate enough to have Sean give me an opportunity to go to work with him at his law firm when I got out, and kind of put those skills that I had sort of acquired on my own in the law library and put them to use out here, making a living for myself now. But beyond that, obviously with COVID, I've been doing a lot of compassionate release work. We've got a lot of guys that are trapped in there, can't social distance in prison, guys with underlying medical issues, done quite a bit of clemency work, not necessarily at the state level, but at the federal level. And, kind of like what the Federal Criminal Justice Clinic has done, with advocacy for stash house things. That's one of the main things that I've been trying to focus on now. And, that's why it's great to see guys like Dwayne get out and get a second chance, and for them to realize the problems that really had kind of associated with that type of practice. And so what I'm trying to do, aside from, any opportunity I get to attend events, criminal justice reform events, to push for, additional second look opportunities, more second chances, eliminating mandatory minimums. I've definitely been blessed to be able to work with Allison, Erica, and, Judith there at the clinic. They've been extremely supportive, and, I've been trying to, sort of capitalize on this momentum that they have, been able to accomplish with doing compassionate release for stash house guys. So it's like, I guess second chances has sort of become like, my drive, my passion, from getting out, you get to leave a whole bunch of people behind, and that there's other people in there that are equally deserving, if not more deserving than I was to get a second chance, that need to have somebody advocating for them. They need to have a voice on the outside. So that's, kind of what I do, aside from the law firm, is, know a whole bunch of other people in criminal justice reform organizations and nonprofits, and just sort of like work with them. I mean, even during COVID, it was, there was a lot of guys that wanted to pursue compassionate release, but there was a limited number of lawyers. So, obviously still having connections with guys on the inside and working with other people that had nonprofits, and, partnering with clinics and stuff, and knowing people that were in that space and that had the capacity and the lawyers. I was able to partner a couple guys who didn't have representation in there with, clinics that were able to turn around and pursue compassionate release for them. So, it's been a blessing to be able to be involved in that space, and, hopefully try to get out here and tell the story and make an impact.
Thank you. Tewkunzi?
I'm a community educator for families. So I work mostly with the families, and my job just require mostly to be there as much as I can to support them and help them through the process. If they helping their loved one trying to get home or get some education while they're in there, basically, I give them as much as they can. Even if I go to the courthouse with them to, pick up some documents or whatever, sometimes best to help families through the process, because I had to realize during my process, I had family to be there to go get paperwork, to help my lawyer out, while we been in two different towns or whatever the case may be. So I feel like other families needed that help, that support. And just not that, I was doing this before I got out, where I was with other organizations, trying to get other little things jumping off for domestic violence survivors. But now I'm just working with families overall. And that's the most beautiful thing about it, is just making sure that families are paid attention to as well, because they're doing time with us and they don't understand a lot of the process. So they missing out that comfort of knowing what to do and how to do it. And with me, that's my goal, is to show them that process, to educate them through that. If I haven't learned this since I had this job, learning more of the job that I have been doing to helping family, it wouldn't be no me. So going back to like some of you guys, especially Dwayne, not being there for his first child. I'm the same way. I was a mom, son was 6 months old when I went to prison. So just knowing that what it takes to help other families not to be in this predicament, what it takes to educate family to help get your loved one home, instead of being a part of the, things that they had going on before, because everything is trauma. It become a trauma. So instead of having the family going through a trauma type process, I want them to understand it's faith out here. Just believe, just have faith that someone is willing to work with you, somebody willing to walk you through the step. And that was my goal. I was willing to walk every step of the way with some family to get them exactly what they need to go to help them get their loved one out, no matter what.
Thank you. Anthony?
The work that I do, I'm so fortunate not only to work with Tewkunzi. I work as a community navigator, and I work with the incarcerated people. I'm the one that's inside, the people that are inside. And the great thing about that is doing the work really that we thought needed to be done when I was in there, helping them, whether it be commutations of sentencing, getting some of their, we have a great list of lawyers for Illinois Prison Project, and getting those questions answered that they need, and it's all totally free work that we do. So I'm grateful to be a part of that and to work for a group that actually was influential in me being released. Upon my release, I had promised to many of the people that I was in there with that I would go to your parole hearing, because I worked on a lot of, I did my clemency pro se, and I had worked on a few other paroles, clemencies for people in there. And I promised some people that I was going to go to their parole hearings as soon as I got out. So my first less than month out, I went, took the little money that I had and bought me a suit, and got on a bus and went downtown to a parole hearing that I promised one of the guys that I would go to, and spoke at his hearing. It wasn't expecting to speak at his hearing, but his family wanted me to speak, and because I had just left him. So there, and after that, I've been just going to parole hearings. I went to like 3 or 4 after that, but I was so inspired by that, and I just love doing that work. Ronaldo calls it hard work, because this is hard work, but it's hard work, and I love it. It's a passion that I have, and I'm so grateful to be around other people that work and believe in this work so much, and have the guts to actually put people like myself, Tewkunzi and Ronaldo, where system impacted people, to work doing this work and to rely upon us and to listen to us and to see what needs to be done, because truly we are the ones that's closest to the problem. So as brother said last night, we are the closest to the solution. So I'm so grateful that we all can be a part of this, and we're in these spaces, in these rooms now where we can be heard, and so they can see us as our example. So I'm so excited about that.
Thank you. That's some wonderful work you guys do. Um, we all know that our incarceration affects, not only us, but our family members. Starting with you, Dwayne, would you share with us the impact that your incarceration had on your family, and the impact you've had on your family's life since you've been home?
Well, as I stated earlier, from the home pregnancy test all the way up until her 11th birthday, I wasn't a part of my daughter's life. My father fought cancer twice and beat it. My stepfather passed away. My mom aged quite a bit and her health declined. I had never experienced taking my daughter to school for the first time. I never experienced a parent-teacher conference, never had the opportunity to cook my daughter breakfast or enjoy one of her birthdays with her or one of my birthdays with her or a Christmas or any of that. So there was a big part of life that was missing that I could only imagine and experience through pictures and phone calls. There was only one person in the world who had the same mother and father as me, who was my little brother. He was murdered in 2018, and I wasn't there for him. And that hurt me more than anything in the world because I was 4 years old when he was born, and all the way up to when we would walk to school together, and my mom would tell me, take care of your little brother, or when she would be taking a nap on the weekend, she would tell me, take care of your little brother. When he needed me most, I felt like I wasn't there to take care of him. I wasn't there to protect him. And that really took a toll on me mentally and emotionally. So there has been quite a few hardships over the 12 years that I was incarcerated. And I could tell that my presence was missed more and more as each holiday passed, as each birthday passed, as each year passed. And now that I'm home, I can honestly say it hasn't made everything better, but it has made everything better because I know every decision that I make, I'm going to make it with Erica, Chaz, Alex, and my family in mind so that their hard work doesn't go in vain. And I'm going to do it for my family so that I never miss another holiday. I never miss another birthday. I never miss another funeral, and that I'm there to guide everyone right who depends on my guidance and leadership. And I feel like it has made everything better because now we have a little bit more faith in the justice system by me getting the opportunity to come home 10 years early. I believe that it has restored our faith in God tremendously, even though we seem to have never lost faith. And we are all taught to never question God. But I believe everyone has had that question of why me or why my family. And now that I've had the opportunity to be released from prison 10 years early, it has restored a lot of faith. And I feel as if we have that camaraderie back again.
Thank you, Dwayne. Anthony, I mean, we know about the things that you do, but what does it really mean to the family? I know you've lost a lot of family, but the people that are in your life, what does it truly mean to them, you being home, and how do you impact their lives?
I am so grateful for the family that I do have. I have a tremendous close relationship with my niece. She wasn't even a teenager when I left the streets. Now she's grown with her own family, and when I got out, she was the one that took me in to live with her. She's been a blessing to me. And when I went away, my son wasn't even born. He's 28 now, and I have a granddaughter. And all of the times that I missed from my family, I'm trying to, I can't get those years back, but I'm trying to develop those memories and have them have memories of me. And it's been wonderful. It's been a struggle at times because being away from family, really don't know how to do this. The way I'm used to seeing families on television, and you try to you know you know every whether it be those type of images that I have, but to see it in full life and to do that, I'm just so grateful. And I'm happy now that um, this opportunity that I have now to not only my mother's deceased and my father's deceased, but I feel in a way the work that I'm doing now that they're proud of us. They're proud of me. And my niece is always proud of me when she hears certain things that's going on with me. And and I'm so grateful. I have some sisters that they're proud of me, and I'm just so grateful to basically be a member of society that I always felt that I was before I went away. I didn't feel I was a part of society. I always felt that I was on the fringes of society, and and that's one thing I longed for when I was, as I became to educate myself and learn about civic duty, responsibility, being a father, being a citizen, being a registered voter. Those things that many people take advantage, take for granted right now. That now I'm happy to have, and I believe that it's something worth continuing to fight for. And I want to be an example not only to my family, but also to the men and women that I left behind. You know, and I just and I keep bringing up this name. Mr. Hudson, he inspired me when I was incarcerated. He was one of the first ones that I see to leave, something that I've never seen happen before. And now when I hear people, they talk about me, or they'll be like, well, you inspire me, and you being there makes me know that I have hope, and they hold on for that. Because it's just so that just that gives me just a peace. And I'm so grateful that I can be an example to anyone. So and my family, I'm just so excited to have them in my life.
Thank you. Joshua?
Like Anthony, I lost a lot of my family during the process of my incarceration. My mom was like the closest person that I had. My grandma, the second closest person to me that, was like instrumental in raising me and kind of, shaping the person, that I became later on in life. But after losing so much, being able to come home and just like my stepdad, my little brother, just for the remaining members of my family to be able to see me, make that transition and be out. And I guess it was a period where they kind of were like, well, hey, look, we don't know what's going to happen, kind of uncertainty, hoping that I would take a different path. But now that it's been, almost 5 years that I've been out, and they can see the consistency and, see the stuff that, that I'm involved in, similar to a lot of the stuff that Anthony and, Tewkunzi gets to do. And they're just happy that I've been able to sort of take what could have been, 100% negative situation and turn it into something positive, to where obviously I'd like to be able to make more of an impact and get more people out. But, the system is the way that it is. So any chance you get along the way that I get along the way to help people, I definitely, I share that with my people in my family and stuff. And they know that, just having purpose and, that sort of like guides me and keeps me on the straight and narrow, just being able to spend the time that I have with the remaining people that I have left in my life. And, I've been able to develop a new family. I've been with my fiance for 3.5 years now. She's got 2 young girls, and, every day taking them to school, that's something that, I never got a chance to experience before, especially growing up in a house full of boys. It's such a different dynamic, when somebody else is there depending on you, to do for them. It kind of like makes you take that self first instinct that I guess that I had prior to going to prison kind of out of the equation, and just kind of like putting other people, ahead of me. So, I mean, it's it's been an amazing experience to be able to, to share the lives of those little girls and to have a new relationship and a new family of my own. That's why, just it seems to be that talking to people, even doing the work that I'm doing and listening to people on this panel, that, there's different things, that we find meaningful at the end of the day. And it sounds like the common denominator here is once we get out and we, leave the craziness of being inside, a prison and being in that environment behind, and we get a chance to be out in an environment around people that love us and really care for us, it seems to be that sort of like ignites a spark, and if you really want to do right, and if you really want, to make a change, and that change is going to be real for you, it seems to be that families and, love for something aside from the superficial things like, money, or if you, you were into using controlled substances, whatever, it seems to be that seems to be what separates, the people that want to do right and want to be on the straight and narrow from people that are just trying to get out of a bad situation, be in prison, and just really don't find anything to anchor themselves back, to leading a righteous life and trying to be on the straight and narrow. So that's sort of what it means to me.
Tewkunzi, you want to elaborate?
Yeah, it's just like everybody else on this panel is, it just, when you lose people, you trying to regain from it. I had the first person that I lost, it was back when I was in the county jail, was my dad. Like it seemed like I couldn't rejuvenate from that, but I still had my son. And I knew my son had someone else to look up to, which was my granddaddy. Then my granddaddy passed away. And it started to become a domino effect. Like, if I'm gonna ever make it home, people just passing away. Like, if, isn't gonna make it home just to see my own child live, because when you look at a lot of years, sometimes you thinking about the good, like just thinking about the good to getting home so no one else would pass away. And it just like, it was so hurtful just hearing, oh, this family member gone. And it's like, I didn't even want to call home for a while because I got tired hearing that someone passed away. Like, it's crazy, you thinking all the time they healthy, all the time they making good decisions in their life. Anything can happen at any given moment. And I was so like, I got depressed. I'm not gonna lie, I got depressed within that time because I didn't know if I was gonna ever see my own child, knowing the way that, the system was working at the time. People are like, man, I hope you make it home, because the way things going on out here, it just not even like reality anymore. It seems like everyone's being selfish, or, people want it their way. If it ain't their way, it's the highway. People out here envying somebody jealous of the next person. So people was just flying off the radar. In my eyes, family, friends that I was real close to, I couldn't take it no more. So the first thing I kept saying is, I don't want my son to ever be in this predicament where he had to see someone else gone. Like, literally, my son found his granddaddy dead, which is my granddaddy, which is his great granddaddy. So just knowing like the hurtful things that can happen to a young boy, the hurtful thing that happened to him as a mother. So I didn't want that problem to keep existing, keep existing, and not being there to help my child go through these things. Talking to him wasn't nothing on the phone because he was still in a whole nother cycle. I'm in a whole nother level in my head because I didn't know which way I was going sometimes. Sometimes I was confused. Nobody didn't want to give me help. You can cry, you can do all those things you want to, but the system don't see what you see when your family passing away. The people that's there supporting you, the people, that write you every minute that they can, people that come, 1,000 miles away to come see you within they're gone. So I was just going through a thing, but by the chance of knowing that I have a second chance in life, that I can redeem myself, and knowing that the people that I looked up to, the people that was there supporting me, that I can make them proud. Like Joshua said, sometimes you can make those people proud that, you know, they didn't see it while they was here, but while they gone, they know that you're going to leave a legacy in a positive way. And that's what I did for myself, knowing that my granddaddy always wanted something good for me. And I wanted something good for myself. So I'm just so thankful that I came home and got the chance to see my son still living and not killed by gun violence or none of that. I'm good to see that my mom is still living, that she didn't have no health issues to be gone. My siblings. So some of those things had counted, and even the people that have been supporting me for years, even the best lawyer that I always say in my eyes, Rachel White Domain. I'm glad to see she's still alive, because even sometimes the good people just go, and you don't want those people to go because you want to get a chance to show them that you are better than what you was before. And that's how life had transpired. That's how it transpired in my life. It made me become different just by looking up to those who've been supporting me for years.
I have another question. Was one of the questions that came up when we had spoke before, and it says that the public needs to be better educated on the harms of the criminal system. What are some of the most problematic parts of the system from your perspective, and what most urgently needs to be changed? I'll put that to you first, Josh.
Man, what are the most problematic parts? To be honest with you,
I know it's a laundry list.
Yeah. No, I mean, when you live in a country that has the highest incarceration rate of any other civilized nation on the earth, it's really difficult to find a starting point, and it's difficult to just sort of condense this answer in just to a couple minutes, because I could go on and on.
Right.
I definitely think it's like I was listening to one of the earlier panels, and Sean was talking. It's like, I think as a society, we have a hard time quantifying risk. And when it becomes a political issue, nobody is gonna, say that they're not gonna reelect somebody that's running for office because they were too tough on criminals, or handed out too long of a sentence. But people that hand out sentences that could be viewed as soft or overly lenient, it's a political issue every time. And it's like, so I would say that on the front end, over sentencing, over criminalization, as we see, with the stash house things, Congress didn't intend for, federal agents to go out there and charge somebody with an imaginary quantity of drugs that is going to drive a sentence beyond a 10-year mandatory minimum. It's not like you're trying to buy the drugs or sell the drugs. The drugs aren't even real, but that's just one example of, over criminalization and over sentencing. It's like, another example, a guy gets caught in a conspiracy, street corner guy. He might have been selling, half grams, even less than that. But after a year and a half and 50 people debrief, they've got 3 kilos on a guy and he's facing a life sentence. It's just the punishment doesn't fit the crime far too often. And when we're sending people to prisons are overcrowded. The medical care is virtually non-existent. It's just not a good environment. It's like a lot of times people that commit crimes are driven by trauma. So why we would try to put people back into an environment that inflicts trauma every day, all day, from violence to indifference in the people that are running the prisons, to eating food out of boxes that says not fit for human consumption. It's just, the list goes on and on. It's like, why they would expect somebody to come out better after being exposed to trauma 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, and then talk about how they failed when they got out and had to reoffend. It seems really counterintuitive to put somebody in a situation like that. So I would say that we definitely need to reimagine the concept of prisons in America. it shouldn't be a place, obviously you get put in prison for punishment. You're taken away from your family to be punished, not to have somebody, commonly and over again inflict, punishment on you over and over again from the day that you go in there into the day that you leave. So it's like, I think that we reward harshness too often in our society. And I think that that's something that has to change. So we have to really try to reimagine the way that we punish people and try to, especially if we expect them to come out and be better than when they went in.
Anthony, would you elaborate a little for us as well?
One of the things that I definitely agree with Joshua that one, what you said, the criminal system. One of the facts that I see is the system is criminal. And to see that, as we were just talking about, but things like laws that are not considered to be retroactive, where you have things that you see that change that obviously within the laws, within times, but people that have been incarcerated for 30, 40, 50, 60 years, that if they got their crimes, if they did these same things today, they wouldn't have that time. Or when you see that there are certain mistakes that's done in their case, you don't want to give it a second look. You say things like it's a watershed effect, that we can't let too many people out. We don't have enough parole officers to deal with that. So, or even something I've heard before that, we've done so much traumatic problems with these youth that we locked up and we put them in these cages for so many years. And now they're showing themselves to be animalistic. And because of that, we've done so much damage to them that we can't repair them. So leave them there. And to see those things, that's why I say it's criminal. And truth in sentencing, rule laws that are truth in sentencing, those things
Yes.
need to change. When you have men that, okay, these people can't get certain good time, they can't get this much time, it's, to see that I had natural life and to see that certain opportunities that I couldn't get because I had a life sentence and someone else could get they could get into school before me or get a job before me, but they had 500 years. They had 700 years. But certain things that people couldn't go to certain classes because you have a life sentence and he has numbers. It's impossible for this person to do 800 years, but they don't have a life sentence. It's just, it seems torturous, it's just the logic and reasoning behind that type of thinking is, inhumane, and we understand that in this day and time, 2022, that something of mercy, compassion, grace, commutation of sentences is something that's so radical and so out of people's thinking that they can't see Phantom giving people second chances when many people we see give second chances to every day, and that's the things that need to be changed. This whole system needs to be changed.
Definitely need more second chances, that's for sure.
Yeah.
All right, so I know that you guys had pardons and commutations. Dwayne, the judge decided which, and having more of a personal connection, I really did not expect to the opinion that I heard from the judge. But how do you feel about that, and how did that make you feel?
For me, I have to say I always had faith in Erica's abilities after hearing what she had done for so many people. So I never once believed, and she had always instilled in me, she had always told me repeatedly, no matter what happens, we weren't going to give up. Just continue to have faith, continue to behave, and just continue to grow. No matter what happened, then she wasn't going to leave me. So I knew when she told me that even if I did have to do all that time, I would have someone to do it with me. I would have someone to fight for me and someone who wouldn't give up on me. So I had faith that I wouldn't do all of it. But hearing the judge's decision, I can't describe the feeling. I can't describe the thoughts. And I have sat down and I have tried my hardest to come up with words. But even right now, 6 months later, I still can't. Because in trial, a lot of the things that the judge said made me feel as if he was the prosecutor, instead of having an unbiased opinion about a lot of the things that were said in trial. I felt like he was really the biased one. I felt like he was over harsh, and he understood fully what I was incarcerated for and what I was being charged with. So I really thought that I would have to, the decision would come from another judge. And even afterwards, when I talked to you about it, I said it couldn't have been the same judge that we went to trial in front of, right, but it was. And I have to say, man, like, I really can't describe it. Even 6 months later, after thinking about it, I can't describe it. But it kind of, it's kind of one of the things that I know that we're short on time, but one of the things that bothers me is they admit that they were wrong, so they let us out of prison, but they still have me on 10 years supervised release. No matter how wrong they are, they still want to keep their claws in you. So sometimes I feel like they just allowed me to be off the property, but I'm thankful for it.
A question I had, as you guys' sentences were commuted, without that happening, did any of you feel that you had any opportunity through the appeal process of gaining your freedom?
I thought I had an opportunity to be honest, but here in the state that I'm in, I feel like a lot of people don't believe. They just look over your paperwork and just throw it to the side. So at first I did believe, but then I couldn't believe no more until I really did the work myself and got it out there. But the appeal process here was just a hot mess. Seemed like sometimes they don't believe in people at all, judging or failing to even correct what was in that transcript. But what I did believe in is that my post-conviction or the clemency was going to help me get to that second chance of life, which is did. And with that said, like Rachel, she pulled out something that I never seen before in other lawyers. She believed in me. She believed what matters. She believed that, I'm deserved to have another chance. I'm believed to know that the court system is not going to always favor us. But then I believe in her, to do the work with me to do the work beside her. And I know that the appellate court is just full of it, because I feel like they don't really believe in too many people. It's like you have to kiss their behind just to get somewhere. And if you ain't somebody that they really looking up that had the credential that meets their credentials, then it's nothing there. That's how I felt the whole time with the appellate court. Like it wasn't nothing there after, you waiting a whole year or two. Like, what's the process? Are you reading or you're not reading? Sometimes that's what made me believe in the whole appellate process. Do they ever read the cases? Or they just there just to get paid? Sometimes you have to do the work. But at that time, I didn't believe in the appellate court whatsoever.
Thank you. Anthony, out of everyone, you had life. So I definitely would like to hear you answer that question for me, please.
If it were not for the clemency petition, I had actually exhausted all my institutional remedy. I exhausted every court remedy that I had. And the sad reality of it is that I actually was preparing myself to die in prison. And, I get emotional even thinking about that, where I'm at now. But, I don't want to say I gave up, but my family began to die off, and I had started giving my photos. We cherished those photos when we were in prison. And I just didn't, I would see so many people that leave me in addiction correctional center. So many people were dying in the hospital. people that were medically vulnerable. A lot of my friends died of cancer while they were in there. They had in the basement in Dixon Correctional Center, they keep all of the people that passed and they have no family left. And they just keep all their property there. And I couldn't imagine my property and my family's pictures just being stuck in the prison hospital. So I got boxes and I didn't even tell my family why I was doing it. I was just saying, I want you to have these pictures, just hold them for me. But I was trying to get rid of a lot of my property because I just felt I was going to die there. You know, so if it wasn't for you know, for the clemency.
I know it must be, I mean, no one can understand that feeling. You know, I was in a place, I know what it felt like to feel like you may die in prison, but I mean, I had an out date, you didn't. So I know clemency, and to be able to gain that, and I know there must be thousands of people a year who apply for that, and they seen something special in you and Joshua, Tewkunzi, that they did something about it. And I'm glad they did. I'm glad I got to meet you.
Thank you.
I'm glad to meet everybody on the panel too. And it's sad because even at the federal level, like right now, we've got 18,000 clemency petitions that are sitting on the president's desk at the pardon attorney's office. And, you know, we haven't even got one petition even denied or anything yet. So, you know, it's been really powerful to sit here and listen to everybody's story because, you know, we've all walked in the same shoes. It seems like it at one point, it may have been different places with different, you know, numbers, situations at the end, but, you know, it's just so much more work yet to be done, you know, and I hope that we get to hear more of these stories, you know, rather than us sitting there telling our story over and over again. I hope we find new people that get more second chances and we can sit there and listen to some new stories and listen to some other people give some powerful testimony like all y'all gave today.
Thank you all for putting this together. I would love to do this again. I started out a little nervous, but I'm grateful to be such a part of this. And I definitely hope to work with each and every one of you in the future. And just to get to know you all.
Thank you so much. Thank you all for letting me be a part, just to hear my voice as well. This was amazing.
Yeah, it was great to meet all of you. I mean, you know, especially Erica, Allison, Jenny, you guys get to sit here and watch your hard work come to fruition, you know, in real life. So I'm sure it's amazing to be able to share that experience and stuff with y'all and to get to know you guys like this. It's been great.
You are all incredible. And I think we were all crying at various points, a lot of points in your panel. Thank you. I mean, we're so grateful to this panel for, you know, for speaking as you did, you know, from the heart about the horrors of your own experiences, and yet all the selfless advocacy that you are all doing is so remarkable. So really, thank you.
Thank you for allowing me to be a part of this. Thank you.
So I just want to say to everybody on behalf of the Federal Criminal Justice Clinic, I want to thank everybody, you know, this panel, all the panelists, all the moderators, for sharing their passion and their work and their insights. And I also want to thank everybody who attended, everybody who participated. This was such an important conversation over the past 2 days, and it's just been really just like mind blowing. And of course, the most important thank you here is we all owe a really deep debt of gratitude to Erica and to Jenny for creating this extraordinary program, for bringing us together around the issue of second chances. So to pick up on something that was said earlier, you know, let's all be the change we want to see, right? And I'll turn it over to Erica now and Jenny.
This is a little one who's joining us for the last little part of it due to childcare snafu. But I am actually just overwhelmed with gratitude for everyone who who is involved in this, everyone who came, everyone who shared. I have personally learned so much. I've been so inspired by everybody, particularly listening to Leslie, Joshua, Anthony, Dwayne. I mean, just tears like rolling down my face because your stories are so powerful, and it can be really hard to tell them and to put yourself out there like that. And so I'm so thankful, and Tewkunzi as well. Thank you all so much. Thank you to Allison, Judith, the clinic, Kyla, Jenny, everybody. I would love to do this every year, and I would love to hear from all of you. An hour and 15 minutes, an hour and a half just simply wasn't enough. So you all are absolutely phenomenal and have lifted me up, and just my heart is happy right at this moment.
I'll just really quickly echo everything everyone said, and really hope that folks walk away with the love and the hope that is emanated out of this panel. I think that's, for me, been the thing that's been the hardest, but also the most powerful part of this event, was just the hope and love that everyone who's been touched by this system has managed to hold on to and push right back out into the world. So thank you all so much.